Alex here with a high conflict child custody video on the best interest of the parent. This does happen a lot in child custody cases. The reason why is because the courts realize that the best way to get rid of you is to do something that's in the best interest of you, the parent. So a lot of times the court will focus on what does it need to do to get the parents to agree, to get the parents to back off and to move on. Um, a lot of times this does coincidentally end up being what's in the best interest of the child, but it isn't necessarily in all cases what's in the best interest of the child. Sometimes there's cases of severe abuse and neglect, and in those cases, if a judge or a court focuses too much on what's best for the parents, the court could inadvertently be facilitating child abuse and neglect. You just have to understand when the court becomes so obsessed with settling the case and getting you to settle, and when the court acts like it matters that one parent, for example, doesn't have any rights, and that's not good and that's not fair, and so that parent needs to get at least a little bit of something just to make that parent feel better, even though that little bit of something, whatever it happens to be, is not in the best interest of the child. I just want people to understand where that's coming from. Well, the place that's coming from is the court's focused on the best interest of the parents. A lot of times the courts will want to make sure that both parents win a little bit and both parents lose a little bit so that it doesn't make one parent feel like they've been cheated or like it's unfair. A lot of times the courts will take an issue where two parents want something and find a place that's in the middle of it to try and make it so that it's as though the court found a compromise for the parents. And of course, as previously mentioned, a lot of times the court will really twist everyone's arm to try to force them to settle the case. When these things happen, you can understand for sure that the court is focused on the best interest of the parents in that case. The courts, they're not trying to do it on purpose. The way the court sees it is that these two people have the power to litigate. These two people have the power to file things and make me do more work. The little kids, they can't file anything. Only their parents can. And so sometimes, because of this subtle subconscious reality, the courts start to, without even really thinking about it carefully, inadvertently focus on what's best for the parents just because that's what's going to, in their mind, get the parents out of the system. Like I said, in many cases, this does coincidentally or accidentally end up aligning with the best interest of the child, but not always. Some of the really good judges out there know this. Some of the best judges understand that by focusing too much on trying to appease the parents, they may inadvertently hurt the child. But that's only the rare few that have the wisdom to really keep that in the back of their mind when they're making decisions and trying to talk to the parents. Most of the judges, they are not paying attention to that. And they can get so frustrated and so off track with trying to get both of the parents to just take something and go away that inadvertently they will harm the children. I wanted to do this video because I wanted to know that it is a thing, it does happen, and this is oftentimes what's happening in the judge's mind when it's going on. So I hope this video is not confusing people. Please post something in the comments below if this video is confusing. If this video makes sense, then also go ahead and post a comment, maybe give me a like on the video. And if you have any questions or if you have any insight that you can sort of give to help the other viewers on this. In fact, if you have some examples where this is what happened to you, where the court was so focused on not making a decision that would upset the other parent, that they inadvertently made a decision that hurts the child, post it in the comments below, because people need to see that this is a thing, that this does happen, because it does happen a lot. This is what happened in my case so many times, because the court just would not want to render a decision that was so adverse to my ex, and it was unfortunately the necessary decision in my case. Banning somebody from going to doctor's appointments, terminating their parental rights, flat out suspending their right to even visit the child. These are extreme decisions that a court has to make. But eventually, after many years and enough child abuse and neglect, the court did make those decisions. The reason why it took the court so long is because it was focused on the best interest of the parents in my case. In many ways it was. Not always, not in all situations, not in all hearings, but in some crucial areas, it was obvious to me that the judge was making a decision not because it was supported by evidence or because it was best for our son, but because it felt bad for my ex. A lot of times, a lot of decisions, a lot of the bad decisions come from judges who feel bad for one of the parents. They feel bad for them. And so because of that, they'll give that parent something that they should not ordinarily give that parent, so that they don't feel as bad. And sadly, that does cause child abuse and neglect, because the parents should not have had whatever it was they were given. Anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Sometimes other people refer to this as best interest of the court, best interest of the system, best interest of the attorneys. But for the most part, all of these things are really, the point is that the court's not focusing on the children. It's focusing on its own interests, focusing on the attorneys. You know, you get it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and I will see you guys next time.